Time for sound design. In today's video, I want to talk about how you can use a pitch shifter device in Ableton to create variation, melodic variation on a drone sample or a continuous tone. So the track that I made sounds like this. In this track there's a sampled element from a vinyl record, and in order to create variation in the sample I used a pitch shifter device. But let's start with the sample. I used this record, Jazz Workshop 1. It's a jazz record from Austria from 1987, from the College of Music Institute for Jazz Research, and on side 1, track 3 is called 08. I took a little bit of that record. I will play you now first the original, and that sounds like this. So from that record I took a very small snippet, as you can see here. It's basically a quarter of a bar. So first I reversed the sample and then I took a quarter, and then the dark parts are a little bit the next quarter of the sample. And I basically looped this quarter note and it sounds like this. And then I extended it to 4 bars where there's a bit more variation in the last bar. So then you get this. So it is a very sort of noisy part. It's the tail of a sound. There's not a lot of melodic content and it's almost like a drone. And because of the way that I cut the sample, you have a little kind of a tick in the beginning. Kind of the purpose of this sample is as a drone, like a textural bed in the background of the track. But at the same time, I want to have some kind of variation. So what I did is I used the pitch shifter device. And as you can see here, this is the pitch shifter device. It's under audio effects, pitch and modulation in Ableton. And then I use the course. So you have define in the course, so this is in steps of 1 semitone. And I created a automation lane, so show automation and lane. And then at the end of the 4th bar, the second half of the 4th bar, I created some very subtle automation. So at the entire time it's at 0, then it goes to -1, +1, and then back to 0. And that sounds like this. Let me play it from bar 5. And that's basically it. So it's very subtle, but it creates enough interest to keep this kind of monotone sound interesting for the track. And then of course I layer this with a bass, an operator with broken chords basically, and a drift synthesizer, and then it sounds like this. And because you only go down 1 semitone and up 1 semitone, it almost feels like it's a kind of a vibrato, or like you would touch the record on the turntable. So it's not like a melody, but it's just enough variation that it keeps it interesting and it sounds a bit lo-fi and wobbly. One of the other elements that I added is a little kind of scratch here. And then, of course, a lot of layers of percussion and drums. So everything together sounds like this. And then throughout the track, the drone sample continues with the pitch shifter modulation. And towards the end, in the ending of the track, I only keep the part where you actually have the pitch modulation. So that sounds like this. So even though it's a very subtle element, it becomes like a central element in this kind of very sort of low energy kind of continuous track. Alternatively to using a pitch shifter device, you could do this on the turntable and touch the record and kind of scratch it, but then you would have to time it very well and you don't have so much control over it. And now you have the exact control over it, and if you want it to be exactly in key, you can go to the note that you want to. This was a very quick video showing this technique of how you can use a pitch shifter in creative ways, create a bit of variation in your sort of otherwise monotone drone sounds. I will link down this record that I used for this track. As always, keep making music. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.